Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing today? Paresh, how are you, bro? How's it going? How's it going? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about you? How are things for you? I hope everything's well. I hope everything's good for you. Coney, good evening. Good evening. How are you doing today? How was your day? Did you have a good day today? It's good to see you here again. I'm happy that you're here. Nice, nice. You always have the best emojis. I don't have any emojis like that. I need to step up my emoji game. Nice. So technically we did meet today for me. We did a lesson yesterday, but it was Thursday morning technically. Pretty much you have cool weather. Really? What is cool weather for you? What's the temperature? It was really strange today here as well. Tokyo last week was really hot, but today it suddenly dropped, and we were at I think 13 or 14 degrees only. So it was quite cool here today, and wet. It's been quite wet recently, so a lot of rain. So I feel you, Paramesh. I feel you. I understand as well. It's raining. Yeah, it rained here this morning as well, and it rained yesterday. Hopefully, it doesn't rain tomorrow, because I don't want to go out in the rain. So today we're going to be doing a fairly difficult lesson. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. We're going to be studying advanced grammar, and today's grammar is going to be using by the time. So maybe you've used it before, but we'll practice using it again. 18 degrees for you. Okay, so yeah, a little bit similar to Tokyo. I think our high was 18, but I don't know if it got to 18 today. So I have a question, Coney. So you put 18 degrees Celsius and then you put 53 degrees Fahrenheit. Are you comfortable using Fahrenheit as well? So you're okay using Fahrenheit, really? I'm from Canada, so we use the metric system. We use Celsius, meters, centimeters, all that kinds of liters, and we always use Celsius. And when I was living in the US, I lived in the US for a long time. And even living there for more than 10 years, I could never understand Fahrenheit. I just couldn't understand it. Even when I would go to supermarkets, I would never understand pounds. So it was always really interesting. I remember when I first moved to LA, I went to a supermarket and I went to the deli counter and I wanted to buy some ham. And so I went up to the clerk, the lady behind the deli counter, and I said, "Yeah, can I have 300 grams of ham, please?" And she looked at me and she was so confused. She's like, "What? Sorry, I don't understand grams." I was like, "Oh, that's right. We're in the US. They don't use grams." But I had no idea what to say, how much. I thought a pound would be too much. So I just had to use gestures. I said, just give me about that much ham. Okay, so you don't, it's not familiar for you. Yeah, you use C as well. Yeah, most of the world is using the metric system. And the US at one point, they also used the metric system, but then they stopped. They went back to their imperial system. So it's interesting. But you have an idea because you have American friends and you're also learning English. I I can kind of guess, but I think it's like 38 degrees Celsius is 100, I believe, or near that. That's how I kind of judge. And as well, when I used to drive in America, it's completely different. We're using miles and not kilometers. It takes a while to get used to. Canada is also strange though. Growing up in Canada, we use the metric system. And on all our official documents, we will use the metric system. But in spoken English, if we're talking about our height and our weight, we use the old system. We use the American system. So we'll say, 5'10". We'll say 150 pounds. We don't, on our driver's license and official documents, it says centimeters and kilograms. But in spoken English, we'll use feet and we'll use pounds. So strange in Canada as well. Okay, so let's get into it. How's it in Canada nowadays? In terms of weather, it's still cold. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she said it was still quite cold. But if we're talking about measurement and stuff like that, it's going to be mainly metric system. But yeah, she said it was still really cold. My sister as well told me it was really cold where they were. So they're still they haven't transitioned into spring yet, I believe. Okay, let's put our lesson onto the screen. Let's put our lesson onto the screen. Today, we're going to be looking at the phrase by the time. By the time. This is a really useful phrase to know. I think that, if you're able to use this phrase, you're speaking at a very high level. And we're going to go over the grammar in a little bit here. But what I'd like you to do first is I'd like you to look at the screen right now. And we're going to look at some pronunciation. So we'll focus on a little bit of pronunciation to begin. We're going to warm up with that. And we're going to be looking at dropped syllables. A lot of times in English, our pronunciation is a little bit difficult because some letters are not pronounced. I can give you a very simple example. If we say that word, the K is not pronounced. It's silent. So we say knock. Now, below we've got some different words here. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what I want you to do is I want you to put an X, or I want you to tell me which one of these letters is silent. Which one is silent? Which do we not say? All right, so we'll start with this first word here, and I'll say the word. I'll say it so that it gives you an idea. So this word, in my pronunciation, it's going to be chocolate. Chocolate. All right, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Now, what letter is silent? What letter is silent? Okay, let's see what we have here. All right, perfect, Coney. So I like how you put the X here. Yeah, so the second O is completely silent. Do not say Do not say chocolate. No, do not say chocolate. This O here is completely silent. So it's chocolate. Chocolate. And over here even, we don't really say late. We're not really going to say late. I would probably say lit in this situation. So chocolate. All right. What about in this word here? What is the silent syllable? What is the silent syllable? So I would pronounce this as several. Paramesh, perfect. The O, second O though, second O. Next, several. All right, several. All right, so Paramesh, you've got E. Which E? The first E or the second E? There you go, the second one. That is perfect. We do not say this E. We don't say several. We don't say several. We say several. Next one, business. Which one is silent? Business. Coney, perfect. With several, perfect. How about business? So Paramesh, you got E. Is that for business or is that for the several? Business. And this one here, this I is silent. I don't say busyness. It's business. All right, Coney, perfect. And let's look. We got two more. Wednesday. Very famous character recently. Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. Wednesday. Paramesh, the D. Yes, you are correct. We don't say Wednesday. We say Wednesday. So yes, the D is completely silent. And last one. Perfect. Paramesh, yeah, the D is silent. Last one here. Every. What is our answer? Every. Paramesh, perfect. The second E is silent. We do not say that E. Very good. So it's really important that we try to pronounce all of these words in the correct manner, especially how native English speakers speak, because if you pronounce it that way, your listening becomes better, your pronunciation becomes better, your overall speaking becomes better. Okay, let's move on to today's grammar. And today's grammar is by the time. Now, why do we use by the time? When do we use by the time? So basically, by the time is saying one event, one action is completed. It's finished before a second action or a second event. So one action happens before the second action. So it's the relationship between two actions. So by the time we'll connect it. By the time we'll connect the two actions. Now, we are going to be using by the time, and I'm going to put a little star here. We're going to be using by the time with the future and with the past. All right, so let's look at the future first here. So I've got the pattern here. So there's two ways to make a sentence using by the time in the future. First, all right, let's look here. We're going to start with our subject. We will have will, be, and ing. Then we'll put by the time in the middle. Then it's followed by subject and present verb. All right, so if we look at the example sentence here, this pattern is following this. I will be taking a bath by the time you get here. All right, so there are two actions. Taking a bath, you get here, you arrive here. Now, in this situation, this is the first action. You get here is the second action. So I will be taking a bath by the time you get here. But this is all talking about the future, not right now. Not right now. So for example, let's say my friend said, I will come to your house at 8 p.m. Now, I always take a bath at 8 p.m. So I will say to my friend, well, I'll be taking a bath by the time you get here. All right, so two actions are happening. It's connected with by the time. The second way to make a sentence is going to be following this pattern. We got subject, will. Now it becomes a little bit more difficult. We're going to have and past participle. Past participle means it's the third position of the verbs. The third positions of the verb. So if we're talking past participle, let's use very simple one. So I've got go, went, gone. Gone is the past participle. So we have subject, we have will, have, plus past participle. We have by the time, subject, and then present verb. So our example sentence is, we will have left by the time you get here. So again, first action, second action. That means when you arrive at my house in the future, I won't be there. I will have left. So you arrive at 8 p.m. to my house, but I will leave my house at 7 p.m. All right, so that's the future. That's the future. Okay, so just bear with me. We're going to start practicing this very soon, but it's important we understand the meaning of this. That's the future meaning. Next, let's look at the past meaning. And then after that, it's your turn to try and practice these sentences. All right, so now past, same situation. We've got two ways to make it. Subject, was or were ing. So this is the past continuous. By the time, subject, and past verb. Okay, so we've got here, they were watching the movie by the time we arrived. They were watching the movie by the time we arrived. So maybe my friend and I, we planned to watch a movie at some other friend's house, but we were late. So when we arrived, they were already watching the movie. And second way is subject. it's going to be past perfect, had and past participle. Then by the time, again, subject and past verb. So we've got had and past participle. They had watched the movie by the time we arrived. This means when we arrived, they finished watching the movie. All right. So when we arrived, they finished it. It's done. They had watched it. It's completed. Okay. So it's complex grammar, but I think everybody will be able to understand it even more when we get to the exercises. All right. So it's important that we're going to do some fill in the blanks. We're going to do some error correction. For number 1, it says fill in the blank with the correct form of the verb. So I've got by the time I something home, she had already left. Okay, by the time I something home, she had already left. All right, so just to review, if we look, she had left is using this pattern right here. So I'm going to put that as a banner for everybody. All right, so this is the banner you're going to use. Let's make this bigger for you to see. By the time I something home, she had already left. What are your answers here? All right, so Paramesh, by the time I reached home, she had already left. Yes, perfect. Reached is perfect. By the time I reached home, she had already left. So she left first, I reached home second. Okay, so reached is one answer. If you have a different verb, it's definitely possible. You can put it into the comment section. You can answer, and your verb could be correct. Paramesh, yours is perfect. Reached. By the time I reached home. All right, so I'm going to put that onto the screen here. Reached, and I don't want it all capitals. By the time I reached home, she had already left. If you want to add words, it's fine. By the time I got home, she had already left. By the time I arrived at home, she had already left. Okay, perfect. All right, so in that situation, we were using this grammar. So by the time, and if you notice, in my sentence, by the time is at the beginning. So by the time, past verbed, then had and past participle. So the order can change. Okay, so number two. So number 2, you have to choose the correct option to complete the sentence. All right, so by the time we arrived, they something dinner. By the time they arrived, they something dinner. What would be your answer here? A, B, C, or D? Pirmesh, they had finished dinner. So D, that is correct. Correct. So the answer here is going to be D. All right, so that would go into this spot here. Okay, all right, so far, so good. Now, if anybody out there watching is still a little confused, feel free to ask questions. I will definitely try to explain it easier for you. Anybody watching on the replay, same thing. Ask any questions that you have. All right, number three. Number three is different. Number three is saying you need to rearrange the words to form a correct sentence. Rearrange the words to form a correct sentence. All right, so we've got by finished the time movie we had. And by the time can be at the very beginning of the sentence or it can be in the middle. It is your choice. And I'm going to put some banners on the screen here just to help everybody out how we are using. Here's a future pattern we could use. There are two future patterns, remember. This is another future pattern. And then my second past pattern would be that. All right, so by finished the time movie we had. Okay. Now, this is not going to make a complete sentence. I want you to rearrange this and then complete it. Make a complete sentence using these words. Right? So you're going to have to add words to make this sentence. This is the beginning, but it's all jumbled up. Unjumble it, rearrange it, and add some more words to make a sentence. So by finished the time movie we had. For example, myself, I might say, we had finished the movie by the time they arrived. That's one option. I'm using the past option. All right, so we had finished the movie by the time they arrived. So I'm using this pattern. But I've put, in this one, I put it in the middle. So we had finished, past participle, past perfect, by the time, and then past verb, they arrived. All right, let's try number 4. Number 4, it says identify the error. There is a mistake. There is a mistake in this sentence. What is the mistake? And please correct it. And I'm going to turn my banner off because I don't want to give any hints. So there is a mistake in this sentence. By the time Sarah will get here, the party will have started. By the time Sarah will get here, the party will have started. This is not correct. There is a mistake here. All right, so Paramount, you've got by the time Sarah will be here, by the time Sarah will be here, the party will have started. Okay, still a mistake. Still a mistake there. All right, so let's look at This is talking about the future. Now, in the future, we have two ways to make a sentence. One will be using the future continuous. The other one is using the future perfect. So I can see will have started is the future perfect. That means will have and past participle. So we will be using this pattern. Now, the order has changed only. The order has changed in this, but make sure we follow all of the verb tenses here. Okay, so by the time Sarah will be getting here, the party will have started. All right, so let's look at this banner one more time. Let's rearrange the banner. Let's rearrange this banner. All right, so I'm going to start my sentence with by the time. Just bear with me. I'm going to make a banner here. So by the time plus. All right, so let's look at this. So we've got by the time. Then I've got subject. All right, so if we look at my subject here, all right, I'm going to get rid of this arrow. My subject is Sarah. Yes, my subject is Sarah. Right. So by the time Sarah, and then next, I need to have a present tense verb. Present tense verb. All right, it cannot be ing, cannot be past, and I cannot use will. It must be present tense. So that means I have to remove will. Okay, next, Sarah must match my verb. My verb is get. So I have to make sure this is not get, but gets. All right, must be gets. All right, so paramesh perfect. Sarah gets here. So by the time Sarah gets here, the party will have started. All right, so basically what this sentence is saying, let's break this sentence down so it becomes easy to understand. All right, Sarah will arrive at the party at 9 p.m. Okay, that's what time she will arrive. But the party will begin, or let's just use the same words, will start at 8 p.m. So the party will start first, then Sarah will come. So to talk about this relationship, we say by the time Sarah gets here, the party will have started. Okay, let's look at the next one. Number 5. Fill in the blank with the correct form of the verb. By the time he something, the letter, she had already read it. And we're going to do maybe one or two more of these, and then we're going to move to the actual speaking part where you get to make sentences. By the time, make sure you are matching your verb. Paramesh, make sure you're matching your verb. So he and read, we have to say reads. By the time he reads the letter, she had already read it. By the time he reads the letter, Okay, so this has to be present tense. By the time he reads the letter, she'd already read it. Oh, you know what? No, you're right. Sorry. You are right, Paramesh. What am I talking? Yeah, you're right. By the time he read the letter, she'd already read it. You are right, Paramesh. Sorry. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do number 8. Identify the error in the sentence. By the time you'll arrive, I'll be waiting for you at the station. By the time you arrive, I'll be waiting for you at the station. What is the correct answer here? And Paramesh, perfect. No will. By the time you arrive, I'll be waiting for you at the station. Yes, so let's remove that. Remember, we are going to be following the correct grammar pattern. So will be ing, which we have right here. And then we need the present tense. So no will. So, and I want you to remember that whenever you're making sentences, let's say even a if sentence, we never say if, will, the comma, will. We can never say will. That is usually always incorrect. Okay, so now let's try. We got more here. And if you want to do number 9 and number 10 for homework, please feel free to do that. I'm going to try to keep it on the screen right here so you can see it. This is where, if you want to do for homework, come back to this part of the video and pause it, and you can try this. Number 9 is fill in the blank. Number 10 is choose A, B, C, or D. Okay. But what I want to do next is I want to do the speaking part of the lesson, which is the application. So what are the instructions? The instructions say, read the cues, make sentences using by the time, past or future. So number 1, I've got age 45. I've got the subject is going to be he, and I've got Mount Everest. Using this information, I want you to make a sentence using by the time. Now, you don't have to use these words. This is just your inspiration. I used the words, my sentence was by the time. That's not an arrow. That's not an arrow. There's my arrow. Okay, by the time he turns 45, he will have climbed Mount Everest. All right, by the time he turns 45, he will have climbed Mount Everest. Maybe this is his plan. So in this situation, he's not 45 yet. Maybe that is in the future. And in his mind, 45 is the goal. So before 45, he will have climbed Mount Everest. Okay, so let's look here. We went to the beach. Where did you go to the beach, Paramesh? Oh, okay. There you go. You did number 9 already. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Okay, let's do number 2. Number 2, the information we have is age 22, bank, and she. Using this information, please make a sentence using by the time. And remember, you can use any one, past or future, right? So if you want to use past, we have this grammar pattern. We have this grammar pattern. If you want to use present tense, we can use this, which is future, sorry, future, this, or this. So it's important that we choose which type of sentence. Is it a past or is it a future? Okay, so Paramesh, your sentence here, and you are going to be using the future one. So you're saying by the time she is in 22, by the time she is in 22, she will have got the bank job. Okay, by the time she is in 22, she will have got the bank job. All right, so your grammar pattern is good. So you've got present tense and future perfect. All we need to do is change it a little bit. All we need to do is change it a little bit. So by the time she is in 25, we don't say. What you can say is by the time she is 22, no in. By the time she is 22, she will have got a job at a bank. By the time she is 22, she'll have got a job at a bank. Okay, or you can say got a job at the bank. That's also fine. And Coney, and I see the correction. She will have completed her loan payment to the bank by the time she turns 22. Perfect. She will have completed her loan payment to the bank by the time she turns 22. And this is using future perfect, and present tense. Grammar is perfect. The only thing, if you wanted, this is a perfect sentence, Coney. If you wanted, you don't have to say to the bank. You can just say she will have completed her loan payment by the time she turns 22. Okay. Loan payment is generally always to a bank. So sometimes we don't need to say that. Another thing we could say, completed her loan payment. Another one that we might say, I would say, is she will have paid off her loan by the time she turns 22. Not 223, 22. So completed her loan payment is correct. Grammar is completely correct. I think that a little bit more natural English would be you pay off your loan. Okay, pay off your loan. By the time she's 22, she'll have completed her loan payment. Yes, perfect, perfect. Or by the time she's 22, she'll have paid off her loan. Paid off her loan. Okay, perfect. Good job, good job. Let's look at number 3. Summer ends I, the subject is I, and 20 books. You're welcome. You're welcome, Coney. Yeah, we pay off our loans. We pay off any debt, whether it's a loan to a bank or it's a debt to a friend. We pay it off. All right, number 3. Summer ends I 20 books. And by the way, I forgot to say hola. Hi, how are you? I completely forgot to say hi. How are you? I hope you're doing well. So summer ends, I and 20 books. All right, so Paramesh, you have, by the time summer ends, I will have read 20 books. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, perfect. By the time summer ends, I'll have read 20 books. Okay, perfect, perfect. And Coney as well. By the time summer ends, I'll have read 20 books. Excellent. All right, number 4. Retires he 20 marathons. Retires, subject is he, 20 marathons. What would our answer be for this? Retires he 20 marathons. So up to number 4, the situations are not that difficult. They're not that difficult. We're actually only using one subject. You know, if you look at number 1, it was he. Number 2, it was she. Number 3, it's I. Number 4, it's he. It's only one subject. From number 5, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. Number 4, Paramesh, your sentence, by the time he retires, he will have completed 20 marathons. Perfect. 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 All right, so by the time he retires, he will have completed 20 marathons. Now, if you wanted, instead of completed, you could say, and I believe Coney just put that on there, by the time he retires from work, he will have run 20 marathons in total. Perfect. Yeah, completed a marathon, you run a marathon. Both are good. Okay, next. Number 5 is going to be a little bit more difficult because I have 2 subjects. So first information is you and party. Second information is I not at party. Okay, so you and party. Then the second part is I not at party. Okay, you don't have to use these words. This is just your idea. Now make sure we have 2 subjects here. There's 2 subjects here. So we've got 2 people. There's you, maybe your friend, and we're talking about a party. And then there's me, which is I, and then not at the party. Okay. And I'll add even one more word to make it even easier to understand. Not at party anymore. Not at party anymore. So maybe that means I was there. I was there. All right, not at party anymore. All right, what sentence would you make here? Now remember, future or past. All right, so you party, I not at party anymore. I'll give you my answer first, and I'm going to change my color back to purple. All right, I'm going to start with by the time. By the time you get to the party, I will have left. By the time you get to the party, I will have left. All right, Paramesh, your answer. By the time I am not at party, you will have given a party. Okay, close, close. I understand what you're trying to say, but we want to have sort of two actions that are happening at different times. So for me, let's say there's me and there's friend. All right, so I'm at the party having a good time. I leave the party, and then now my friend comes. So now my friend is having a good time at the party, but I'm no longer there. I have left. I have gone home. Okay. Now, if you want, we could have changed this to past tense. We could have changed this to past tense. So I could have made a sentence. By the time you got to the party, I had left. This one is the past tense. Top one is the future tense. All right, so the top one is saying, this will happen in the future. The bottom one is saying maybe the next day we're talking. The next day, we see each other. Hey, where were you? Like, oh, I was at the party. Oh, so was I. Oh, I left at 7. Oh, I got there at 8. Okay, so by the time you got to the party, I had left. Okay, now there's one more word we could add, and a lot of native speakers between had and the past participle, a lot of times we like to use this word, already. I had already left. You don't have to put this. It's not necessary, but if you want to, it's okay. Okay, so now let's look at number 6. All right, so it's you and then home. It's I and bath. You and home, I and bath. All right, so we've got 2 people again. All right, it's yourself and someone else. So you and I. You is, we must talk about home. We don't know who's home. Maybe their home, maybe my home. Then we've got I and bath. And make this in the future or past. All right, so you, home, and let's make this bigger so it's easier to see. You, home, and I in bath. Now, what I'd like you to do, I'll give you how I want you to make it. I want you to use this grammar pattern here. I want you to use this grammar pattern here. Okay. Now, I know, Paramesh, you probably already answered it, so don't worry. let's look at your answer. Your answer says, by the time I had bath, you had come to my home. Okay, so by the time I had a bath, you had come to my home. So in this situation, you are using the past situation. So you're using past perfect. All right, so it works. This works. I like it. It's okay. By the time I had a bath, you had come to my home. Which is first, which is second? Which is first, which is second? Which action is happening first, Paramesh? Which action is happening second? I think in this situation, what you want to say is, by the time you came to my house, I had my bath. I had finished my bath. By the time you came to my house, I had my bath. I like sometimes when you use had and had together. This is correct. I had. It's past perfect. So had my bath is the first action. You came to my house is the second action. All right. So make sure you follow that order. All right. So by the time, it's going to be you came to my house. It's the second action. And then the first action, I had my bath. Now, I suggested that you also, everybody could use this grammar. So let's just make this a little bit. Okay. So in this situation, we're going to be using was, were, ing. Was, were, ing. Then by the time, subject, past verb. So in this situation, I could say, I was taking a bath by the time you came to my house. Okay, I was taking a bath by the time you came to my house. All right, so there's many ways we can make this sentence. We can follow the different grammar patterns. Okay, let's look at number 7. Number 7 says, I awake, you work. I awake, you work. Now, I want you to use this grammar pattern. You can put by the time in the middle, or you can put it at the beginning. That's okay. All right, so that is okay. You can put by the time at the beginning or the middle, but please use this grammar pattern. We're using the past perfect and past tense. So I awake, you work. So I awake, you work. Again, you don't have to use these words. Make sure that you can use different words. This is just the sort of idea. So awake, you don't have to use the word awake. But I want you to use that idea. I want you to use the idea. And remember, we can change the order here. It's okay to change the order. Right, so if you wanted to say something else, by the time plus subject plus past verb, then we would have subject plus had and past participle. That's also okay. And I'll put that as well on here. So if you wanted to use this pattern, that's fine. So for me, I'll make my sentence and I'll use this pattern here. And I'm going to say, by the time I woke up, you had already gone to work. By the time I woke up, you had already gone to work. All right, so this is by the time, the subject is I, past is woke up. Then subject you, had already gone is my past perfect. Had already gone to work. Okay. So let's do two more, and number 10 we can do for homework. Let's look at number 8. It says I and vacation, and we've got ended. All right, that's the idea, ended. And then you, vacation, begins. All right, use this information and make a sentence. And in this one, I want you to use this grammar pattern. By the time plus subject plus present verb, then I subject, and then future perfect, will have in past participle. All right, this is a confusing one where we've got vacations, 2 people, I and you, one is ending, one's beginning. I'll give everybody a little bit of time to think how they would answer that. And then if everybody's stuck, then I will put my answer. Okay, so let's use the grammar pattern that's on the screen. Let's look at the banner. We're going to start our sentence with by the time. Right? So we've got by the time and subject. So let's start it that way. I've got by the time now I have to use the present verb. By the time I get back from my trip, now it's going to be you, and then I have to use future perfect. By the time I get back from my trip, you will have gone on yours. And again, if I wanted, I could put already here. By the time I get back from my trip, you will have already gone on yours. Gone on your trip. Gone on your vacation. All right, so Paramesh, you had one here. By the time you begin your vacation, I will have ended mine. Okay, so by the time you begin your vacation, don't forget my pronouns. By the time you begin your vacation, I will have ended mine. I will have ended mine. So we don't need to say vacation 2 times. All right. So if you notice in mine, I said trip, but 1 time, but I don't say it here. I don't say you will have already gone on your trip. I've already said it 1 time, and that's enough. Okay, so pretty much one more time. By the time you begin your vacation, no S, by the time you begin your vacation, I will have ended mine. All right, good job, Paramesh. Good job. And I'll put yours on here. So by the time you begin your vacation, I will have ended mine. Okay, ended. I could say finished as well. That's also okay. Okay, good job. And one more, number 9, we'll do together. Number 10 will be for homework. All right, so this is going to be your homework. All right, so that's your homework. So number 9, it says he, home, and we, dinner. He, home, we, dinner. Okay, and I want you to use this grammar pattern. By the time, subject, and past verb, and then second subject and past perfect. All right, so he, home, we, dinner. 2 subjects, he and we. You decide what's the first action. You decide what's the second action. And I'll put my answer in a second, but I want everybody to have a chance to try their own before I jump in. Okay, so let's put my answer in here. So we're going to be, again, following the pattern of by the time. Okay, and I'm going to be using subject and past verb. So by the time he got home, we had already finished dinner. By the time he got home, we had already finished dinner. Okay, so by the time he arrived home, we had finished my dinner. Our dinner. We and our. We had finished our dinner. Perfect. Just make sure you have that pronoun, our dinner. By the time he arrived home, we had finished our dinner. Perfect. There you go. Excellent. Good job, Parmesh. Okay, so number 10 is for homework. Number 10 is for homework. The sentence says, the words say, plane board, we, security. All right, so plain and board, this is one situation. And we and security is the second situation. Okay, I want you to make a sentence using by the time. It's your choice if it's future or past. I'm not going to tell you which pattern to follow. It's your choice. You choose. You can use any. There's 4 different patterns, so you can review those. Choose one and make a sentence. So again, we've got plain and board, and we and security. Okay. So at this point, any questions? Anybody who's watching live right now regarding by the time, or if you have a completely different question about English, or any question about something you're curious about, you want to ask me right now, feel free to ask away. People who are watching on the replay, if you have questions as well, leave it in the comment section. I think everybody sort of got the hang of this. I think it once we start making the sentences, it becomes easier. Just follow the patterns, the 4 patterns I gave you. If you follow those and if you use the correct grammar tense, you'll be fine. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any questions, which is great. I hope that means everybody understands it. My next live lesson will be this coming Saturday, but it will be in the morning. It will be in the morning. Unfortunately, it's quite early. Paramash, I know it's going to be too tough for you to join, but I do have to work all Saturday. So I'm trying to have, or I'm not trying to, I will have a live lesson before I go to work. So, Parmesh, you have a question. So, can we say my favorite movie is acted by so and so? So, no, in this situation, if movie is the subject, then a movie doesn't act. So, we need to say the actor is acting. So, I would switch the order. I would say, the actor's name first. So, you could say, Tom Cruise is in my favorite movie. All right, so start. If you're using act, then we really have to talk about the person. But here, so is in. That means they are acting. They are acting. So we say in. All right, so I could say Tom Cruise is in my favorite movie. Tom Cruise is in my favorite movie. All right, so how do we say it in the passive? Okay, so passive, usually we use mainly when we're writing or in formal business English. Okay, so how do we say this? How would we say this? So I would say the title. One sec, this is not. Oh, one sec. I'm gonna have to stop sharing one time and then share again. My shared screen froze. Okay, there we go. So in this situation, again, it wouldn't say favorite movie. My favorite character in Top Gun was played by Tom Cruise? I forgot favorite. Okay, so my favorite character in Top Gun was played by Tom Cruise. So usually, if we're talking about movies, the actors play a part. They're acting for sure, but they're playing a role. So they play a part. So this character was played by Tom Cruise. Does that make sense, Parmesh? So here, because we're talking about the person, the actor, so we can't say my favorite movie because we're talking about the actor. So we have to say that my favorite character. Now, if you're talking about movie, we can say my favorite movie was filmed in Italy. You could say acted, Parmesh, that's fine. It's not as played is more common. My favorite character in Top Gun was acted by Tom Cruise. Played is definitely more common, but acted, it works. Grammatically, it's fine. Does that make sense, Parmesh? I hope so. So it all depends on the subject. The subject really has to match our passive form. I mean, if we're talking about the actor, then the subject should be also talking about the actor, but not the movie. Now, if we're talking about a director, right, then we can say the movie. My favorite movie was directed by Quentin Tarantino. Okay, any other questions? Can we say one of my favorite movies is acted by... Yeah, we wouldn't say that. Because movie and act, they don't go together. You know, I would say one of my favorite movies has Tom Cruise in it. One of my favorite movies has Tom Cruise in it. Yeah, that's another way we can make that sentence, but not your example. All right, so one of my favorite movies has Tom Cruise in it. Cody, so do you know any websites we can get reading worksheets for free or paid to improve reading? What type of reading? Is it any type? News articles, short stories, fiction, nonfiction? Yeah. So what type of like content do you want? Okay, yes, any type for A1 to above. What I do a lot for my school, some people want to practice reading, and I like to do a lot of news articles, like latest news, but it's shortened versions. I always use this website here. So you can try this. This website here, Breaking News English, is good. You'll get a short version of an actual news article. It's usually 2 paragraphs. But the great thing is they've separated it by either an easy article or a difficult, harder article. And it's easy or hard depending on the vocabulary they're using. And it's not just the article. The great thing about this one is it's a complete lesson. There's vocabulary practice, there's true false, there's synonym matches, there's phrasal matches, there's gap fills. It's a complete lesson. But if you want something free, that's completely free. And Coney, I'm actually going to be I'm in the process of making this video. I'm making a video right now. It's going to be a listening and reading video. It's going to be I'm planning to do it as a pre-recorded live. Basically, it should be about 90 minutes to 2 hours long. And it's going to alternate between a listening, where you're going to listen to a story, and then you're going to have to answer 4 questions. And then the second one, you have to read the story, and then you'll have 4 questions. And then listen to a story, 4 questions, read a story, 4 questions. I'm making that video right now. It's going to be a really long video. It's going to be about, like I said, 90 minutes to 2 hours long. I've already created the content, and that one has from C1 to A1 vocabulary. So it starts off easy and it gets more and more difficult as you go on. So you're going to have all short stories. These are all fiction short stories. I'm hoping to have that done this month. So when I do, I'll let you know. I know hopefully you continue to join the lives, and I'll let you know when that is out. But in the meantime, that website is really good. So one of my favorite, how do I say it? One of my favorite movies. I would, directed, produced, filmed. Those are the 3 main verbs we would use for passive to talk about movies. One of my favorite movies was directed by, was produced by, was filmed in. Those are going to be the most common ones because we're talking about the movie. We're not talking about the actor. One of my favorite movies was created by, and then that means the creator. So we're not going to talk about the actor. If one of your favorite movies is the subject, we're not going to be talking about the actor. We can talk about the director, the producer, the creator, the location where it was filmed, but not the actor. If it's actor, it's going to be characters. One of my favorite characters was played by Adam Sandler. You're very welcome, Connie. You're very welcome. Yeah. I hope to have the video out soon. The content is done. That took me a lot of time. I don't know how many short stories I made. I think it was, I have no idea. I probably have right here. I've got two computers here. Let's see. I can tell you how many stories I made. No, I don't. I don't have it here. I think it's like 20 or so stories, but it's going to be listening and reading. So it should help. That's going to be a really good video, I think. It's really good for comprehension. It's really good for vocabulary, reading. And when I do that video for the reading, I'm actually going to have a timer. I will only give you a specific amount of time to read it, and then the story disappears. So it will also help your speed. It's important that you're able to read quickly. So we'll be doing that as well soon. But yeah, Breaking News English. I like it. It's a good website. I use it at my school a lot. Paramesh, you're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. No problem. Any other questions? Remember this lesson, again, if this lesson as well, if anybody wants a copy of this lesson, it's just a PDF. I can send you guys the PDF for this lesson if you want. You just have to ask. All right, if there are no more questions, then we can call it a lesson. Remember, this Saturday, I will be having another lesson. And moving forward, I will be most likely doing 3 live lessons a week, back to my normal schedule. So Thursday for sure, always Thursday at this time. I get back from work and I always want to do a live. And Saturday, those 2 will be my set days. Then the other day will be some weekday, possibly a Sunday, and I'll vary the different times so people can try to join. All right. All right. It doesn't look like there are any more questions. Oh, here we go. Paramesh. He lost his job. Is it correct? No got. No got. He lost his job. He lost his job. No got. If you want to use got, then we don't say lost. We would say fired. So he got fired from his job. He got fired from his job. He lost his job. That would work as well. So he lost his job. Okay, so that right there, he lost his job. Or if you want to use the verb get or got, he got fired from his job. He got fired from his job. Now, if you say got lost, it actually has a different meaning, right? So just the word, if we just say get lost, there's 2 meanings for this. One meaning means to go away. Go away. So if I say to someone, get lost, It means I'm telling them go away. Don't bother me. So get lost. Now, the second meaning, it's not toque. The second meaning of get lost. All right, so the second meaning, it means it's to the second means right here. So you get lost means you lose your way. You do not know where you are. So, for example, if I'm in a new city and I go to a new city, let's say I'm in Paris and I'm walking around the city, but I look around like I have no idea where I am. I tried to go to the Eiffel Tower, but I don't know where I am. So I got lost. I got lost. So if you're using get and you're using it in the passive, basically what get means is just become. So he became fired. So got equals became. Okay, so he got fired. We don't know who fired him, but he got fired. I got fired. I was fired. Same meaning. It just means become. Okay, so get is become, got is became. A lot of times for get, in the passive, it's talking about you don't do the action. Somebody else is doing it, or you've requested someone else to do it. So a lot of times we would use this this grammar pattern here. We could use this, get someone to verb. Okay. Or the other one we could do is going to be get something and past participle. Okay, so get someone and to plus verb. I got my friend to pick me up. Get something plus past participle. I got my car repaired. Okay, I don't say who repaired my car. I got my car repaired. Coney, thank you so much for joining, and thanks for watching the replay again. Great question. I hope you like the website I recommended, and I'll let you know when I finish that video, the next video for you. Have a great day, Coney. So I would say this one here, Paramesh, get something and then past participle. Get something done. All right, so for example, I could make a sentence here. I got my pants tailored. I got my pants tailored. Who did it? I didn't say. But it's kind of obvious. A tailor usually will tailor pants. So I could say I got my pants tailored by a tailor. That's fine. I got my car fixed by a mechanic. Does that make sense, Paramesh, for you? You know, we're basically going to be using this grammar here. Get something, and then past participle. Get something done. That is correct. Perfect. Yes, get something done or got something done. Yeah, that's completely fine. We're going to use the get verb, something, past participle. Yeah, get and something is compulsory. We need to have that there. If we don't put something, then getting just means I'm receiving something. So yeah, it is. Yeah, we need to put something there. So here, this is not going to be a passive sentence. This is going to be a collocation. This is a set phrasal verb, like an idiom. Get hired, get fired. Get hired and get fired. So we don't put job here. So you just need to remember for hired and fired, we just use get, nothing in the middle. So you get hired, you get fired. He got hired by IBM. He got fired from Google. All right, so you just have to, those two, you just have to kind of remember those. So get hired, get fired. These are set phrases that we use together. He got his job lost. Can we use? So lost means that he's done, like no longer has that job. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, so in this way, we don't say, if you're gonna say like done, we don't say lost. Lost is something that you cannot find it anymore. You know, like, oh, where are my keys? I can't find my keys. I lost my keys. For a job, we don't uh you don't use another verb for it. We can't say, you know, get and lost. Just he lost his job. And if we say he lost his job, it's a very, very polite way to say he got fired. So while we're using like get and then we've got hired and fired, here hired and fired is an adjective. It's not a verb. So it's not passive. Yeah, it's if you want to say recently, then I would say he recently lost his job. He recently lost his job. Now, if you wanted to be even more polite, like even more polite, even more polite is this. He was recently let go. He was recently let go. Sorry for the noise. That's my espresso machine cleaning itself. He was recently let go. Recently let go means he was fired. Okay. So was, and I want you to be careful here. So was fired in this situation, fire equals a verb. Okay. Was fired means fire is a verb. So this is a passive verb tense. But if we're saying get fired, fired in this situation is an adjective. Right? So this is an adjective. So this is no longer, this is not a passive form. All right. Does that make sense, Paramesh? Okay, so I hope you get it, Paramesh. I'm not sure if you do have any more questions. You know, you can always ask. If you think of a question later, you can always ask me in the comment section, and I will definitely answer. So make sure you feel free to do that. But in the meantime, let's call this a lesson. Let's call this a lesson. Let's wrap things up here. Remember, Saturday I will be doing my next live lesson Saturday morning. If you go to my community site, you'll see a lesson schedule there. for the week. And this week it was Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. These are all Japan Standard Time. So make sure you come check me out Saturday morning. And for next week's lesson schedule, I will post it probably on Sunday. So check that out, and you'll see when next week's lessons are. This Saturday, I haven't decided what we'll study, but I think we will be studying reported questions. We're going to stick with our advanced grammar. And we're going to do, I believe, reported questions, but I might change my mind. We'll see. You'll just have to come join me on Saturday and find out what we study. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody who joined the lesson today, everybody who was very active. Paramesh, great job. Coney, amazing. Ola, I didn't get a chance to talk to you more, but I hope you're doing well. And for everybody who was watching, but not, you didn't post a message, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad you joined. I hope you learned something. Everybody watching on the replay, thanks as well. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Hopefully it was useful. This is really, really useful English. It helps you speak at a very advanced level. So make sure you practice this. And let's see, Paramesh, you have a final question here. So, bro, if I use got in the passive, I must use got something past participle. This is the most common way to use get in the passive. This is the most common way to use it. It's probably the easiest way to use it. All right, it's probably the most easiest way to use that. Okay, and a lot of times it's going to be, for instance, let's look at this. I'm going to type something here. It doesn't always have to be something in the middle. It doesn't, that's not necessary. I find it's easy in this situation, but if we look right here, I'm going to put an active sentence and then a passive sentence. And here you can see how it's a little different. So let's look here. Active sentence, they are repairing the road. Passive, the road is being repaired. And then passive with get is the road is getting repaired. Okay, so it doesn't always have to be that. As long as you have, got plus the past participle, this is going to be passive. Got plus the past participle, that will be passive. Now, if you want to add information, you could also put the something in between. All right, so for example, the house got painted. Who painted it? We don't know. My shirt got stained. Who stained it? I don't know. Maybe me, maybe somebody else. So get plus the past participle will be a passive sentence. So not only that one pattern I gave you, as long as you're using the past participle. You don't have to put something in the middle. If you want to, that's also very common. Okay, hopefully that answers, hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity. And you know what I will make a lesson on this, Parmesh. I'll make a lesson using get and passive, and we can practice how to make these sentences. And I'll make sure I do that live lesson on a Thursday, because I know Thursdays are when you can join. All right, I'll wait another couple of seconds here if you have another question, Paramesh. If not, then we'll sign off here, and hopefully I see everybody on Saturday. Don't forget, there was some homework from today's lesson. Please be active. Please try it. Leave it in the comment section. I always respond. So I got new about it from you. Here we don't use got because we don't need a passive sentence here, because I is the active subject here. So I is doing the action. I knew about it from you. There's no situation here where we make this passive. That's an active sentence. So we don't need got. Okay. So make sure that the doer of the action is unknown. So in this sentence, you are the person knowing. Now, if you changed it, if you changed it, and if you're not the doer of the action, for example, if you said this, that now is a passive sentence. I got told about it. Who told me? I don't know. It didn't say in this sentence. So I got new. So I am the one knowing. So that is active. Passive is I got told. I got picked up at the station. I got picked up at the station. Another passive one. I didn't pick up myself. Somebody picked me up. Somebody came with their car to the station to pick me up. This sentence doesn't say who. The sentence is only saying I got picked up. I didn't walk home from the station. I didn't take a taxi. I didn't take a bus. I got picked up. That means somebody came to the station. Somebody came with their car. They picked me up. Who? It's not said in this sentence. Okay. So I hope that makes it a little bit clear. So I got escaped. No, escaped is only you can do it. Nobody can escape you. Escape would be an active verb. Rescued. Rescued would be the passive one. I got rescued. That means somebody came to help me escape. So the verb would be incorrect. Escaped is an active verb. I escaped from the house. So I got rescued is what you would want to say. So your idea is right. You're just choosing the verb you chose is just the verbs you've chose so far are used in active. They're used in the first person in the active sense. No, it's got nothing to do with patience. I am more than happy to help Parmesh. So do not worry about that. Do not feel, oh no, I'm asking too many questions, or don't worry. I'm always here. This has nothing to do with patience. I enjoy helping people to understand. So you don't have nothing to worry about. And you're always, very, very welcome. So yeah, ask away. I'm here. Do you want to try one more? You want to try one more, Paramesh, before we look at that? Perfect. Perfect. My bike got repaired. Perfect. Perfect. You didn't repair it. This sentence doesn't tell me who repaired it. Most likely it's going to be a bike shop, a bike repair person. But maybe it was your friend, maybe it was your family member. This is the passive sentence. This is perfect. Excellent, excellent sentence. Got some fluff on me. Okay, so close. Change this verb. Explained is what you would do. So if you want explained, if you want to use explained, put the something in the middle. Put something in the middle. So the lesson should go in the middle here. So here, just put the something in the middle. So I got something explained. I got the lesson explained. Yes, perfect. And if you wanted to add more, you could. I got the lesson explained to me. But yes, this is the passive. Here we have to put the something. And with the get something and past participle, technically this is more of a causative relationship. You cause something to happen. Where passive, it just means you're not the doer of the action. So like I believe like this is your perfect passive sentence. My bike got repaired. Who did it? We don't know. All right. Any last ones? Any last questions? I see some people have been hopping in and out. If there's someone new here, we've already finished the lesson today. We did a lesson on by the time. Now it's sort of just Q&A. People are asking questions. So if you're just joining now, feel free to ask any question you want. You can ask about English. You can ask about this channel. You can ask about me. You can ask about I used to live in the US and Canada. I can ask about that. You can ask about what I'm drinking. So could you please take or talk about got in the passive? Is it take or talk? Yeah, sure. So do you want me to make a class we're using get in the passive? Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I can do that. No problem. No problem. I've already got a lesson on this. I've got all these lessons already done. For instance, let's say, how would you answer this question? This will be the final one. Let's see if you can answer this. Let's use get in the passive verb here. I don't know why this class is always so dirty. It's something every morning. It's something every morning. Yes, here confused is an adjective. Yes, correct. I don't know why this class is always so dirty. So what would we put in the blank spot here? You're going to put get and a past participle verb. Get and a past participle verb. What will your answer be for this? So in this situation here, of course, we're going to be using get and the past participle. So my answer for this would be gets cleaned. Gets cleaned. I don't know why this class is always so dirty. It gets cleaned every morning. All right, so you chose the right verb, cleaned, but it's not got. Because we're saying every morning is routine. Routine means we use the present tense. All right, so here we don't know who is cleaning the room. We don't know who's cleaning the classroom. We just know it gets cleaned. So what I'll do, Paramish, is I'll make a lesson on get in the passive voice, and I'll do that. I'll make a video and I'll do a live lesson. And I'll make sure the live lesson's on a Thursday where you can join. Okay, so let's call it a lesson there. It's almost 1 a.m. over here. So it's get, gets, and getting, and got plus past participle. Yes, correct, Parmesh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well done. Well done. All right, good job. Seriously, really, really good. I'm glad that you're trying to figure it out. It seems like you're slowly getting it. I think you got some clarity now, and I will make a lesson and do a live on this. So by the end of that, you'll have it perfect. But I think you're on the right track right now. Okay, guys, it's time for me to go to bed. I've got a big day, long day tomorrow. So I will see everybody hopefully on Saturday. If not, I'll see you next week. I've made some videos. I'm editing them right now. So hopefully I'll post those as well. But in the meantime, I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for joining. If you were new and you watched this live lesson, if you liked it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and do all that fancy stuff. All right, guys. See you guys all in the next lesson. See ya. I'll try to do it soon, Parmesh. I'll try to do it soon. Maybe I'll try to do it next Thursday. Right, next Thursday. Let's try to do it next Thursday. Okay, I gotta go. See ya. Bye-bye.